Good afternoon and welcome to Entrepreneurs Live. We are back with Maggie Naidoo on the Entrepreneurs Mind Mastery series. Now, first of all, we would like to wish Maggie a happy birthday today. She's just turned 30 years old, looking stunning, looking amazing, and she's having an absolute blast of a birthday. Now, Maggie, it is awesome to have you with us on your birthday of all things, and we just want to say happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, David. And I'll take the 30, even though it's like another 17 years added to that. So
That's awesome.
I'll take the 30. Thank you very much.
That is absolutely awesome. Now, Maggie, I know today is going to be quite awesome. You just shared with me what you'd like to talk about. I can't remember that. That's just above my head. Please tell us, what are we going to talk about today?
Okay, today we're speaking about how your mind and your emotional status contributes to the way you actually feel and the way your body reacts to the way you feel. So we're going into not too much of nitty-gritty, but just a broad explanation of how that actually works. So how your mind and your emotional status contributes to the way your body reacts. So it's quite interesting.
Wow. That sounds interesting. I can't wait to hear. So Maggie, the floor is yours. You go
Thank
for
you.
it.
Thank you. In saying that, remember that, and I think people need to take what I'm saying today into what's actually happening right now in this pandemic, because everybody's very afraid and scared the moment they hear COVID. People got COVID, and then the next thing, your brain is racing. So listen carefully, listen wisely, and hopefully this will make some difference in your life and the way things are going at the moment. So basically the role of your mind and your emotions and, in your state of health is absolutely vital. So what you think is what you feel, and what you feel results in an attitude, and that attitude results in some type of physical form outwardly. So that's what we discussed last week. So it is most important to know that, and most often this area is overlooked. Okay, so we're going to try and uncover and try and make you understand how this actually works so that you can play a better role in your health and your overall well-being. So I'm sure at some point in your life, we all had this experience when we were little. You get up in the morning and you say, "Oh, mommy, I don't want to go to school." And your mom says, "Why?" "No, my tummy is sore." Then she says, "But is there a problem at school?" So it's like, ding dong, ring the bell. There's usually a very intimate, there's always actually a very intimate and dynamic relationship between what goes on in your life, what goes on in your thoughts and your feelings, and what actually happens in your body. Most times people think that, that our bodies and our mind work separately. They're like two separate entities. And they believe that they function differently. So your mind will work one way and your body will work one way. But that's not so. We feed and we watch our bodies every day. We exercise. Some of us, most of the time, some not. But we enjoy intimacy. We enjoy sensory moments. In the same way, we feed our minds all these things. We feed our minds with ideas, with intellectual stuff. We amuse it with various types of sports and entertainment. So, we also experience all sorts of emotions. And those things actually attribute to the way we treat ourselves or how we allow others to treat us, either by making us feel bad or good. So when anything goes wrong in any of these parts or any of these systems, often, we go to someone to sort it out. Like when you're sick, you go to the doctor to check out what's happening in your body. If you got something wrong with your head, with your mind, you go to a psychologist, psychiatrist. Maybe you come and see me, I don't know. But that's what you do. But yet we instinctively know that somewhere along the line in this whole story that something else is going on, and we know it's going on in here. Okay. And I'm sure you would agree that's, what I'm saying is true.
Yes.
So for example, let's say you're going for a job interview, or maybe you're going on your first or maybe your 10th date, I don't know. But you obviously wanted to sort of impress the person that you're going to be meeting with. But also you wanted to try and be calm, collected, controlled at the same time. But in all of that, in that whole mix, you start feeling very self-conscious, very nervous all at once. Now, How is that possible to be feeling all those things at one time? Can you actually recall how your body feels when you're in that episode or in that moment? It's uncomfortable. You become so self-aware, so self-conscious of yourself. You start tightening up your butt muscles. It's like literally the tension inside of you. You grasp, you grip. You start sweating a little bit more. You feel nauseous sometimes. You may fumble with your words. And all you wanted to be was this confident, savvy, classy person, but all hell's breaking loose on the inside. But outside, you're trying to hold it together. So this psycho-emotional state actually affects you physically, because what's going on in the inside is eventually going to show on the outside. So this is easy to understand, okay, this part that I'm explaining. But when it comes to an illness, it gets a little bit more trickier. So I want to show you how your mind and your body are not two separate pieces, but one single body-mind, and how every part of your body is the mind that expresses itself through that part of the body. So let's say something goes wrong, and it's usually both the physical and the emotional part that goes wrong. All I'm saying is that these parts get overlooked, and it's a huge component for people to heal. And when we overlook them, and then we start treating all the signs and symptoms of whatever's showing outwardly in your body, but we don't actually deal with what's going on in your mind, when that is where your root cause is coming from. However, I'm not saying this is a cure for all illnesses, but I'm saying there is an element there that needs to be taken care of or seen to. Yes. So let's start with the whole little chemical soup, if I want to call it. So all of your thoughts and your feelings get translated into chemicals. Now, they are set off throughout your body. These chemical composition starts changing, and then they start to change the behavior of the cells in your body, right? So when you're sad, say you're sad and you really overcome with sadness, the sadness will start to trigger your tear ducts. And when those tear ducts are triggered, what happens? You start to cry. Tears start falling down. And when you're afraid, what happens? Or you get the sudden chill. What happens? All your hair starts standing up on your hands. You get goosebumps. So something is obviously triggering that, okay? So how does this happen? How does your thoughts actually, or your feelings actually affect you physically? And the big word we are going to use today is neuropeptides. These neuropeptides are secreted by your brain, the immune system, and your nerve cells. So neuropeptides are your chemical messengers in your body. They carry all the information from your brain all the way back down into your body and all the way back up again. And it's done through all your body fluids, okay? So every single cell in your body is covered with thousands of receptors, okay? Just a little example, this is not a cell, but the best replica I could get. So there's the little cell, and it's got all these receptor sites all over the cell. So this is what it looks like in your body, okay? So each of these receptor sites have got a specific pattern, and those patterns lock in those neuropeptides on it. So the neuropeptides get stuck onto these little receptors, okay? And that is how they transmit these neuropeptides all over the body. And that's how the messages goes around into your body. And that's how they transmit the information. And those are the things that actually influences how the cell in every and any area in your body starts to behave. So remember I said it creates an attitude and a behavior. That's what it does. So let's look at an example. For those of us that do a lot of training and running and stuff like that, you'll be very familiar with this. You have endorphins, and these endorphins are responsible for that high, blissful feeling that you get, okay, like a runner's high, as they call it. So these endorphin receptor cells are found everywhere in your body. So therefore, when you have that blissful feeling, it's experienced everywhere, from your brain all the way down to your body to the last little toe. You feel like you're on a high. So it travels all over. And how quickly does it travel? It just needs seconds. That's how quick they transport the signals in your body. So the brain, in the brain center, there's a little system called the limbic system. This is the emotional center of your brain. It has little components. One is called the hypothalamus. It is a small little gland that transforms all of your emotions into physical responses. So its function is to make every emotion that you feel physically. Okay, so you do it physically. It also controls your appetite, your blood sugar levels, your temperature, the automatic functioning of your organs, like how your heart beats, your lungs breathe, your digestive system works on its own, your circulatory system works on its own. So it does everything on its own. This is like your body's pharmacy. So you go to the pharmacy to get your drugs and get your happy pills. This is where your body goes to your hypothalamus to get its happy pills. So everything that it needs, it gets released there from the hypothalamus. It releases all the neuropeptides, and then it goes to the rest of the body to balance the entire system. Then you have another little component called the amygdala, and this structure actually produces fear and it produces pleasure. So it's one or the other, right, in your body. Then you've got the pineal gland, and that monitors all the hormones that are released in your body. And they act as painkillers or antidepressants in your body. So some days you feel really like overly moody, and some days you're like really chill. Okay? So those are the guys that's responsible for your feelings, your emotions, right?
Yes.
So this actually shows you how the relationship between the mind, the nervous system, and the endocrine system, and how all these connect together, and how you feel and how you behave between your emotions and your physical state. So it shows you how that balances off. So these little messengers are actually the link. They are the link between your perceptions, your feelings, your thoughts. And on the other hand, your brain is where all the hormones are secreted to every cell of your body. It also includes the immune system. So this entire network creates one communication system in your body. So it's not two parts. It's mind, body, one communication system. And they talk to each other every single second of every single day that you are breathing, talking, living, beating. Okay? So actually, each part of your body is listening and responding to the mental chatter that you have, to every thought and every feeling. So this is quite a complex communication system between your mind and your body. So therefore, it can actually reflect the state of which your physical and your your physical health and the illness that you actually portray. So how you physically feel outwardly gives us, or you can actually indicate what's happening between the surface. You can just know what's going on. Or even if you come to me, or most doctors will say, is certain thing troubling you because X, Y, and Z should be happening.
Yes.
So you can actually figure out that something else is going on inside of you. So if you damage one part and you ignore the other, it's obviously going to show in another place. So let's say if I'm totally stressed and I really cannot bear this, and I start to isolate myself. And when I isolate myself, what's going to happen? I don't want to eat, I don't want to drink, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. And then I start feeling sick. Then the next thing, my immune system starts to drop. And how quickly would I get an infection? So if you think about what's happening now with people, yes, you hear, I got this infection. Then it's boom, gosh, the worst is going to happen. You start stressing your body. You start stressing those cells and those hormones that are being released. You cause extra damage to your cells. Now, those cells got no other place to breathe and work and heal. So what are you causing? Even further damage. And then what's going to happen? Boom, you have messages. Sorry, guys, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. Or you have an ICU situation. So guys, you really need to take heed of not allowing or trying not to allow this whole illness factor to get you that there is no end. If we change the mindset, we can change a lot of things. So your thoughts have energy.
Love it.
Your emotions have energy. They make you do and say things and act in certain ways. you can jump up and down. You can lie flat on your bed. You can determine what you want to eat, who you want to love, what you want to do, anything. The energy behind of what you think and feel does not just disappear, okay, if it's held back. So we decide to hold that back. We keep it. We want to keep it and as a reminder consistently. So when you cannot and you do not express what is happening emotionally and psychologically, that feeling just gets deeper and deeper and deeper within you, okay, until it starts to show up as a physical body illness or physical body disease. And I'm sure there's a lot of us can relate to that, okay? The emotion most often expressed or seen is rage, okay? This is one of the most inappropriate and very difficult emotions to express, but it may come or stem from a lot of childhood issues, from a lot of current issues, from work, relationships, or just too many changes in life, okay? Rage is generally connected to a sense of loss of control, which is caused by a lot of stress-producing circumstances. So I just want to touch a little bit on how this whole stress response works. So have you ever tried squeezing a toothpaste tube with a capsule on? What will happen? The paste will obviously, sort of push up, and with the pressure, it will try to find another way out, okay? So this means that it will come out either from the bottom because of the force, or a hole in the side, or wherever the weakest point is, it will find a way to break free, okay, when pressure is applied. Now, if you can imagine yourself as that toothpaste tube, now imagine you being under that pressure, and you are beginning to feel and experience that emotional stress, that psychological stress. You are being squeezed to the limit, and you are unable to take the lid off. So by recognizing what is happening and taking the time to relax or deal with your inner conflicts, imagine if somebody really squeezed you to that limit, what's going to happen? You're going to break. All hell's going to break loose. So what actually happens with your mental or your emotional pressure building inside of you? What actually happens? Eventually, it has to find a way out. And if it can't come out through the top, that means being expressed or resolving the problem, it will definitely come out somewhere else. And it will always find your weakest point. Either your digestive system, your nerves, your immune system, showing you bad sleeping patterns. So little scenarios, once you start to push down, it becomes an illness, like depression, anxiety, like an addiction. When you project that pressure outwards, it becomes hostility, anger, aggression, prejudice, and fear. The clearest way to see how the mind directly affects the body is through stress. There's a place in your brain called the cerebral cortex, and that literally sounds the alarm for your brain whenever there's a form of perceived life-threatening or a stressful event. This now will affect the limbic system that I spoke about and the hypothalamus, which I also spoke about, and that affects the whole secretion of the hormones in the immune system and the nervous system. So that whole cycle starts to happen, okay? And this takes seconds, not long, okay? Seconds. So this is the fight or flight response. And this allows you to respond to danger. So if I had to say, David, there's a snake there by your foot, what are you going to do? You're going to jump, isn't it? Or if I'm going to say, David, watch your back, someone's going to stab you, you're going to try and react. So you will react immediately. However, even in unimportant events, if you keep it there, if you make sure it brews in your head, those events can also cause a stress response, even though, it doesn't really mean much, because your brain does not know the difference between real and imagined threats. Remember last week we spoke about that. Your brain doesn't know right from wrong, black or white. All it knows, you put it there, when you need it, it will bring it up. So it does not know real from imagined. So even if you are imagining it and creating it for yourself, it's going to be there, and that is a stress response on its own. So if people think, people say, oh no, but I'm not stressing, but in the back of your mind, there's something playing all the time, and that is a stress response. So when you focus your fear on what might happen, it plays as much havoc on your hormones and the chemicals in your body as a proper real life situation. So that response is built into your body. It was never intended to be a long-term thing. It was only supposed to be temporary. So once danger passes, your body was supposed to go back to normal. But no, we consistently, psychologically and emotional issues continue. And what happens? It causes adrenaline and cortisol, two hormones in your body that will continuously be released in your body. And those chemicals start to cause and compromise your immune system. And then you start getting physical illness and disease. Then you wonder, hey, what's going on? Why is my immune system so bad? But there's a stress response that you are ignoring. So take heed of that. So a lot of physical symptoms from excessive emotional stress are like headaches, blood pressure problems, your heart palpitation, muscle tension, nausea, lack of sleep, lack of appetite, irritable bowel, backaches, sweating, rashes, and your immune system becomes compromised. So it's much easier for you to catch a cold, like I said, okay, or any other infectious disease. So, weigh your pros and cons as to what's going on right now in this very moment in our country or in the world, actually. You also have psychological changes. You have depression and anger, mood changes, anxiety. You can also, have like impaired concentration, memory loss, unable to make decisions, you're confused, you're irrational. There's a lot of fears, a lot of marital issues, lots of sexual problems. I mean, that's another biggie, you don't realize how that affects you. Behavioral changes also include like people that are sloppily dressed, fidgety, they have sudden outbreaks of fear, they overindulge in smoking and drinking, hence the addictions. People have phobias and also sexual impairment functions. It's quite a list, okay? But these things can lead to some severe illnesses if they're not seen to. So stress is neither good or bad. Rather, it is how we actually respond to or react to the stress creating factors that makes the difference. Some people respond to pressure or crisis in a very good way, while others just panic, go into denial, and they fear. They just go crazy. So when we're faced with a deadline, a person may, they may find that they become creative, they can always finish their stuff on time. But somebody that's not with the program, they will just freeze up and just not complete their work. So the difference is in our perception. How do we cope? And what is our coping, capabilities? So if you perceive a situation as one that you can deal with, one that excites your creativity and makes you feel empowered, then you will not have a negative stress response. But if you perceive yourself to be someone that's unable to cope, fearful of what's going to happen, and you get yourself all worked up into a sweat, then you will soon be displaying a whole lot of stress symptoms. This perception of yourself is based on your personal history. It may be due to past childhood influences, your conditioning, your beliefs, your religious background, the social environment. So there's many factors, but it is your perception of your inability to cope that causes that stress response in your body, rather than what's happening on the outside. And I think that's very important to hear. This will result in your digestive system shutting down. It'll speed up your heart rate. It'll flood your body with hormones without even getting any physical or direct physical cause. So the thoughts and the emotions that you are not acknowledging, the stuff that you're not dealing with, the stuff that you are not healing, they will simply make themselves known elsewhere in your body. So make a note of them, deal with them. You may prefer to believe that any illness that you experience is entirely due to something else, something external, rather than having to do with something in your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own behaviors. So please take notice. Don't be in denial. And I think that's a big thing. So getting ill feels like something like you have no control over. It's like becoming like a total helpless victim. Despite living inside your own body for many years, when something goes wrong, you feel like there's a stranger inside your body. And I'm sure you agree, okay? Because then you don't know who this person is. The illness can make you feel so disconnected, unable to understand how the stranger even works and how on earth did it even get there and why has he stopped working. So For me, the more deeper I look into the chain of illnesses that are presented to me, the further I go beyond the obvious, because there's physical reasons, and the way it unfolds sort of, it'll all boil down to more subtle layer of what exactly is going on in here. Tell me what's going on in here, because there's something there that's related to what's happening out here. And yeah, so that's my story for today. I made it way shorter than last week. So I do hope you enjoy this information and you take a much closer look at yourself, your mind, your body, and the connection that's there. Remember, what you feel, what you think is what happens, how you behave, and what you portray in your body. So stay tuned for next week. Next week, we're going to do the responsibilities for change and how we focus, okay, and how we can focus. And so, yeah, just make sure you stay safe, sanitize, maintain your social distancing, and be good.
Awesome. Maggie, before we go, we've got some messages for you. I'll start from the top for you. We've got Leonie saying, hello, Maggie, and a happy birthday to you. And you're looking good as always.
Thank you.
We've got Peter Hingston saying, awesome, Maggie. We've got Sharon Albert saying, amazing content, Maggie. Also from Sharon, I need to feed my neuropeptides positive. Leonie saying neuropeptides. I don't know the spelling, but it's an important word. Leonie also said the human body is amazing yet complicated, but if we understand it better, we can work with that.
100%.
Then we've got Miss Kip saying hello and happy birthday. We've got Monia from AIM Business Advisory Services saying this is so interesting. Sharon Alberts agreeing and saying, yep, it's interesting. And Monia closing off with a comment saying, looking forward to the next week, Maggie. So Maggie,
thank you so much.
From everybody here, we would like to wish you a happy birthday again. And we want to thank you for the awesome content that you're putting out there. This is information that is extremely valuable to the world at the moment. And we thank you for sharing your professional opinion with us. It's awesome. And now you can go and enjoy your birthday. Happy birthday, Maggie.
Thank you, everybody.
And have a beautiful day. And we'll see everybody next week, Monday, 1 p.m., same time, same place. And please do us a favor, go and share this message all over. It's Maggie's birthday. She asked me if she wants as many viewers as possible on us today. Let's help it. Let's get the message out there. Thank you very much, everybody.